Australia is over-dependent on China. If we look at the list of the main Australia export markets, we will notice that China alone represents 32.6% of all Australia export in the last 2 years. That's approximately $153 billion worth of goods and service. By the way, that's Australian dollar, so don't get confused. Anyway, it's like almost 1 in 3 Australia export goes to China. That's more than United States of America, Japan, Korea, and India combined. Some analysts might say that China is the main reason why Australia has not experienced a recession in the last 3 decades. It kinda makes sense. If we look back, China had a construction boom that lasted for more than 3 decades. During that period, China became one of the main buyers of Australian raw materials, such as iron ore and also coal for the energy demand. And to be honest, nothing changed. It's still the main buyer till today. But it did not stop there. Oh no, during the Chinese golden years, Chinese family experienced an increase in their income level. Now that they have more income in their disposal, they can send their children to the best university in the West. Australian universities capitalize on that trend. And in 2018, students from China comprised 33% of foreigner enrollments at universities in Australia. It might not look, but this is a massive number. The whole education industry in Australia is the largest service-based export. It contributes $37.6 billion to the Australian economy in the financial years of 2018 and supported 240,000 jobs. That's a lot. You might be wondering, where am I trying to get with this story? Well, before we carry on, please subscribe to this channel, and I'm gonna explain where am I trying to get with this story. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that China is more important to Australia than the West. Basically, Australia has self-hostaged on the Chinese hand, not on the other way around it. Like I say in the beginning of this video, China is the main market for Australian goods and service. We are talking about raw material, education, tourism, soybean, wine, agriculture product, baby powder, and the list of exports is just endless. Even when it comes to investments, it's the same scenario. Chinese invest heavily in the Australian market and economy. All of this interaction increase the buying power of Australian or just the average income of Australian citizens, especially if we take into consideration the positive multiplier effect that China had on the Australian economy. Even Australia house or the property market was heavily influenced by capital from China, whether it's directly by purchase of property or just by increase the Australian average income. And some of those properties are like retirement safe net for a lot of people, in particular the old generation. So, if the property market suffer any decline in price, it will affect drastically the retirement plans of Australians. So, in order to prolong such a disaster from happening, Australia needs to keep the Chinese influx of capital for as long as they can. Thus, it is in the best interest of Australia to maintain a good relationship with China. This means not hurting the feelings of the Chinese people. It's like you cannot bite the hand that feeds you, because the hand that feeds you is the hand that can slap you. This hypothesis was very visible this year when China threatened to retaliate Australian goods and services for criticizing the regime. I mean the Chinese Communist Party, also known as CCP. The Australian politicians and business people went into panic mode when they hear about the possible embargo that China is about to impose on the Australian product and service. The Australian elite, they know how devastating it will be an embargo from China. If China cut Australia, Australia will go into a deep recession, and that's a terrible scenario, not only because of the recession factor, but because Australia did not suffer any recession in the last 30 years. Those are 30 years that the economy was not self-corrected. In other words, whatever market imperfection there was or there is, it was not fixed in the last 30 years. What allowed such a behavior was the influx of capital from China. Even worse, some of those market imperfections have compounded, such as the house price, the uncompetitive Australia export-based economy, or just the industrial side of Australia. I don't remember using an Australia product in my country. Even Malaysia has a better industrial side. Like Malaysia has a car industry, Australia don't have. It's kinda weird that a country like Australia doesn't have big brands, even in the car industry, in the tech industry. But that's a topic for another video, so subscribe to this channel and thanks for staying.